Right, let's see, let's make sure that I've actually got this set up correctly. Hello. Hello guys. I can already see what the comments are going to be like today. Let's see, big brain, I will not be late. If you wonder, firstly, why I'm being slightly quieter, well, I think I'm being slightly quieter, is because I have a new setup now. So I've got a proper microphone and a nice new shiny 4K camera, thanks to, well, very kindly purchased for the channel by Ginger Steve. So now we have a much better setup, basically, but I need to work on kind of volume now, because I have this thing right here. I don't know how loud I need to be. I've done a couple of warm-up streams and it sounded alright. So I'm hoping that this doesn't sound too bad to you guys and you can hear everything and you can hear the background music. So hopefully all is well. Big Brain, I will not be late. I know, Big Brain, but it's valid today. It's valid. I've spent about 4 hours, I think, setting up the stream and making sure that everything, hopefully, fingers crossed, works perfectly. If you read this, you are way ahead of it with the chat as well, Big Brain, as usual. All messages. Cool. King of the Dead. And here I was going to sit and make an evening snack and I am greeted with nothing. I'm sorry for that, King of the Dead. I'm here now. Hopefully we can get on track now. What's the point of having a schedule if you don't follow it online? Alright, well, let me know, guys, whether you can hear me properly and whether it's all working okay. The audio sounds weird. Oh no, that's a little bit worrying. How weird are we talking? Am I connected? I should be connected. What does it sound like, Big Brain? Can you not hear me properly, or is it too quiet? I might need to crank it up a little bit, potentially. If worse comes to worse, we can just go back to the laptop sound. So let me know, because again, this is kind of the first stream with new equipment here. So I'm hoping that I kind of got it right, but you know, if I don't, I don't. I think it works out well. Can you hear everything, guys? Can you hear me clearly? Does it sound clear? Can you hear the background music? Are we good? Can you see me? I feel like the field of view on this new camera is fantastic. Although you can see how messy the studio is now. Alright, so let's get cracking. What am I going to do today? Today, I have managed to finish as well, before I set up the stream, I managed to finish painting the whole bridge. So I've airbrushed it and given it some tone. I've also done this little ruined chapel here. And now, well, I say now, before now, I also gave it a coat of varnish as well. I gave it a coat of varnish through the airbrush. So now we can kind of come on and do the metallics and get some of the details picked out. Big Brain, it works, but I think it needs to be tinkered with. Oh no, it's not coming out right, is it? I wonder if I can try, bear with me, let's see if digital works. Am I still, what about now? I mean, there is going to be a few hiccups, I think, with this stream, potentially, so hopefully a bunch of you are feeling patient this evening, because it might be that I don't get it right straight away. So I hope you can bear with me while I work on it. I have always said that I'm not very technical at all, so I have to watch all the videos on how to set things up, and even then I'm not guaranteed to set it up correctly, basically. So let me know, has this changed the quality at all, Big Brain? Does it sound a little bit clearer now? Or is it still weird sounding? Also, I've realised I need a pot of lead belcher to even get started, so this is a fantastic start to the stream, guys. You also get to watch me amble around and try and fit through this tiny gap. Try not to mess everything up on the brand new stream. You see that? Still managed to clip it. Okay, look, so we are off to a very rocket start. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start painting some of these metallic details. Big Brain, I am a volunteer audio and light technician. Well, Big Brain, I think I'm going to need your help, especially if it sounds weird. I don't know what it sounds like to everyone else watching, whether it sounds strange or it doesn't sound right. As long as you can hear me clearly, I think is the important thing. Not sure if that setting change done anything, but it's nice to see the board being worked on. Well, do you know what? If it's not working, I will just go back to the laptop audio. So bear with me. I will unclip this. We're definitely going to need... Let's see. Alright, what about now? So hopefully this works. I've kind of gone back to our... Excuse me. I've gone back to the built-in mic now, so hopefully you can hear me a little bit clearer. The one that I was using is a wireless mic, and I think I need to learn how to use it better before I start using it. So, yeah, hopefully we're clearer now. Crazy rocky start for the new stream. Let's get some painting done. Yeah, I'm so unbelievably useless when it comes to tech. You know, it's kind of crazy. I feel like I probably should have paid better attention in IT in school, but I didn't. Sounds better. Okay, awesome. All right, we're on the right track now, Big Brain. We're using our old method of... we're using the old microphone for this one, I guess, today. But I'll give the old clip-on one a bit of a tinker. Just got here, sounds good. Okay, we've changed the system now, so hopefully we're, yeah, nice and clear. Alright, God, what a faff. So, we are going to try and get some painting done today. What I want to do, mainly, is pick out loads of these metal details that you can see on the bridge. Because from there, we are just like a stone's throw away from adding all the neat little details, like, you know, kind of shipping containers, barrels, the things you'd find in lots of Warhammer boards. We're also going to do our little details like posters. I printed off a bunch of posters that we can use. And what else have we got? Pigment powders and stuff like that. And what I want to do, just for the sake of being tidy, is do a nice black edge on the sides of the table. So we're going to do that as well at some point. But let's get started on these details. Toby, look at that camera view. I know, Toby, it's fantastic. Got a great field of view, but you see how messy my studio is. One thing we were just a little bit stuck with, which I might ask your advice on at some point soon, is I plugged the wireless mic in, but it sounded a little bit strange on live stream, so I don't know whether I've got the settings completely right. But I'll have a tinker with it tomorrow and see if I can get it to sound correct. Because I did a few test streams earlier and it sounded okay, but apparently on live it doesn't sound too good. It sounded a bit off. Dirty Birds asks, how long is this table going to be? Well, Dirty Birds, the table is going to be 4 foot by 6 foot, and it's going to be in 3 sections, so this is the first of 3, and this is going to be... God, why does my brain stop there? This is going to be like the ash waste section. What this table is going to encompass is it's going to be the Hive City meets the ash wastes. So we're going to have a little bit of Hive City on one section. We're going to have like a hive wall. And then we are also going to have like a ash waste nomad settlement as well. So we'll have that on one section. And then this is the other section, which is going to be sort of a bridge that leads into the Hive City. And with this board being the way that it is, you can, you know, you can mix things around a little bit. You can have the settlement before the wall and then the bridge if you so choose. You can have the bridge leading up to the wall. Basically, there's going to be a few combinations if you want to mix it up. So that's what we got. Toby, what streaming software are you using, and is the audio input for your mic set as? Well, Toby, I'm using OBS at the moment. I set the camera audio, I think, as the... Oh no, that's probably why, isn't it? That's probably why. I think I've set the camera audio as the audio when I should have set the... Okay, I think I know what I've done wrong. That size is the perfect size for Heresy games. Yes, you'll be able to play Heresy games on it as well, King of the Dead. That will be a thing. Obviously, I haven't mentioned this stream, but I've mentioned like every other stream, that this table, when it's finished, will be available to play on at Hobby House when it's done. So for some of you, you'll get a chance to play a few games on it as well. I think the audio feed might be set to the laptop. It is now, Toby. It is now. I switched back to the old method because I wasn't quite nailing it with the Sony mic. And I'm worried that if I try again now, I might faff it up a little bit more. But I could give it a shot, actually. Dirty Bird sounds awesome. The angle of the bridge is confusing my mental image of the larger design. Well, Dirty Bird. Let me see. Spin it around a little bit. Hopefully that gives you a better idea. And obviously the way that the board's set up in 3 sections, you could have your wall section on the end here. And then you could have your ash waste settlement here. So you'll have the bridge going into the Hive City and then like a little settlement. Or you can swap it round, so you could have your hive wall here, you could have the settlement in the middle, and then you could have the bridge at the end, if that makes sense. Big Brain, it makes sense if you use the camera mic. I know, Big Brain, but for some reason that's what I was using to begin with, and it wasn't sounding correct. I can always have a try again, see what you guys think. I want to get it right, obviously. I don't want to rely solely on the laptop mic all the time, because the quality is not as good as the Sony mic. So if you bear with me, I will delicately try and sort it out again, but you guys are just going to have to let me know whether it sounds better or worse. So let's give it a try, shall we? Bum, bum, bum. Let's give it a try. You're going to see me amble around a bit. I'm going to clip this on. Might have been because I didn't clip this on the first time. So, with me. Okay. Right. So, look at me trying to sort this out. There we go. Okay. So, what does that sound like? Does that sound better or worse? I'm worried because the volume thing goes right up to orange. Makes sense if you use the camera mic. Yeah, sorry, went over that. Toby, I'm investigating. Thank you, Toby. Big Brain, make sure to use the correct input device. Yeah, so I've set this one to the Sony microphone, so it should sound... Is that good? Are we good now? King of the Dead. Yes, way better, says Toby. All right, cool. Do you know what I'm worried about with this, though, is I got so used to talking through the laptop mic that I'm worried about volume, so like not to shout too loud and just blow it up. Okay, well that's good, as long as it sounds better. Might have to adjust input volume, but the sound is much crisper, the input volume. Let's see. Let's take that down. Oh, is that any better? As long as this works now, that would be fantastic. The EQ is off. I don't know how to sort the EQ. I don't know how to do that, Big Brain. As long as it's more crisp and you guys can hear me properly now, that is way better. I'm probably going to have to work out the EQ, as Big Brain says, if it's a little bit off. But we can do that, we can get there. I think you're going to see that sort of, well, you're going to see a similar theme to what happened with the first streams, where I kind of got used to it, and I'd like to say that the quality got a little bit better. And now, obviously, since we have generously been provided with a new camera and new microphone, new equipment, you're going to have to see the sort of improvement increase again as I get used to the new technology. So yeah, all right, let's get to it. I do want to try and get a fair bit of this painted this evening, because we are ready to move on from the airbrushing now, which is fantastic. But I want to start picking out these metallics, just because we have another 2 sections to do, and the next 2 sections arguably are going to be much more detailed than this current one. The camera is great, it is big brain. You can see everything so much clearer, and I feel like I've managed to set that up correctly, so I'm very happy with that. It's just we need to tweak the audio a little bit, I believe. But as long as it's still coming out fairly crisp now, we will crack on. Yeah, it just took me a little bit longer today to get set up. I had to wait for a few cables that I needed to stream. So I have spent most of the day setting up for this stream, but I was still able to give the bridge a nice coat of varnish. Usually I wouldn't do that if I'm just making sort of scenery for myself, but since this table is going to see some use, I figure if we give it a coat of varnish, it will just keep it looking nicer for much longer. And I know people aren't going to be roughhousing with it, but you know, it just gives it that extra layer of protection, and it didn't take that much effort. Just had to put a little bit through the airbrush, so yeah. It's all coming together now. I think the next thing I'm going to do though is when it comes to some of the powders that I'm going to use on the board, I've got like 2 different greys, or I've got like a ashy white grey, and I've got this kind of sandy pigment colour. I'm thinking of potentially using them, but I might also see if there's like a darker one, potentially with a bit of brown in it, just to complement the other colours that are already on the board. So I'm going to have a little look at that this evening, because I've got experience using the other 2, and even though the whiter ash one looks really good in the pot, once you get it out of the pot, it is very, very close to white. So you know, once you put it on painted scenery, it kind of dominates it a little bit. So I might look for a bit more of a complementary colour. But before we do that, we've got to pick out, on this bridge there's a bunch of these little sort of air vent designs. So I'm going to pick most of them out, I think. Especially the big ones at the bottom, just because it doesn't look right if they're all grey. And then, once that's done, I'm going to blast some Nuln Oil through the airbrush just to give them a bit of tone. Luckily, I won't have to brush that on, because it doesn't matter if you get a bit of overspill with terrain is fine. So if you see some of the bottoms of the pillars, basically, where I've caught it with the Xandri dust, it kind of adds to the effect. Not everything needs to be too tidy, because it's the ash wastes. Toby, if you need any pigments, let me know. We've got plenty of AK pigments here. I will do, Toby, thank you. There's like 1 or 2 that I think would really complement this board, so I will definitely let you know. I think we'll get this done first, but I will drop you a message. Thank you, Toby. How am I sounding, Toby? Is this better? I feel like we're better than where we were at the beginning of the stream. Got off to an awful start there. Okay, let's get a bit more paint. The thing that's funny when it comes to cracking out the brush again is a lot of this project has been, you know, created using the airbrush, and I feel like I've got so used to doing things quite speedy with the airbrush that when you come back to using a normal paintbrush, it feels like you've slowed right down. But it's also nice to pick out the details as well, so I can't really complain too much. Audio is cleaner for sure. Fantastic. All right, we're heading in the right direction. That's good. I feel like this stream I'm definitely thinking more about how it sounds and everything, because it is the first stream with a brand new camera, brand new 4K streaming, and you know, new audio as well. I think there might be a world where you could benefit from a lapel mic that's a little mic that clips to your shirt and can plug into your clip part. Probably so. I mean, the thing is, Toby, I'm also happy to get like I bought a few little accessories for this, obviously. But yeah, like anything that can help. If you've got any recommendations, drop me a message, definitely. Anything that can further improve the quality of these streams. I think the camera is a damn good start though. It's nice to be able to look and see everything and kind of show you guys everything in much greater detail. Definitely going to be beneficial moving forward when we get to some more of the detailed parts of this board. The Hive wall being a huge one, because that's going to have quite a lot of detail. The audio is way better than the audio from the camera. Okay, well that's all I need to know, Big Brain, as long as we're doing it right now, that's good. Because, you know, like all the little tweaks and everything we can do later. God, I'm losing my voice already, doing way too much talking. Toby, so the clip you have at the top of your shirt can have it plug. Oh, I see what you mean, Toby. Yeah. That would be very cool. I noticed it's got the little clip thing on it, the little audio jack. Cool. Well, as long as we're much better than the previous streams, that is fantastic. I didn't actually realize till I tinkered around with this camera just how old the previous camera I was using was. And the funny thing is, well, I don't know why any of you would know this, but when I was doing the previous streams, I wasn't using a, video catcher? So I was I don't know how I managed to do it. I don't know how I managed to work it, but I was streaming it just directly from the camera onto the laptop and like screen capping it. But now I've got some of the proper equipment to do it. So yeah, I didn't realize just how outdated the stuff I was working with was. Jock. Hello everyone. Okay, the camera quality is way better. Thank you, Jock. You guys can actually see now, which is fantastic. And I'll definitely be able to show you guys close-ups of things. One of the things I was using it as a sort of test when I did a couple of test streams was the crashed Valkyrie. And when I put it up to the camera, you guys can actually see the quality of it now. Like you can see all the details and stuff. So yeah, when I can pick something up and show you guys in closer detail, it's going to come up pretty damn well. Alex, hello Nihilus, the focus is also much more steady now. Fantastic. It's nice to hear that it's working, it's coming together. We are, step by step, we are improving the quality of these streams, which is absolutely fantastic. More because you guys can actually see what goes on now, as opposed to just me talking. I feel like the previous streams could sometimes just become a bit of a talking head sort of situation, which is alright if you can stand the sound of my voice, but if you can't and you just want to see stuff being created, not so great. So yeah, we are just going to try and get as much of this metal painted as we can this evening, because it means I can just do some shading tomorrow with the airbrush again, and really get things moving. And on top of that, I haven't shown you guys properly yet, but actually this would be a good opportunity for me to show you something right up next to the camera lens. So we will use these two as an example. Basically, you can see on the board where the bridge here has a few missing pillars, and that is because originally the design had these points, kind of like the smaller ones you can see on the handrails. and the points were, you know, they're pretty big. And I feel like if people are leaning over and playing games on this, you don't want to gouge your eye out. So I cut them off, and I'm going to replace them with some Imperial Sector statues. I did have to stick them to these kind of Mechanicus pieces, just so they would fit on top properly. But what we're going to do is we're going to paint them gold, or a kind of brassy colour. I'll show you guys what they look like, because with this camera now, if I can get it right there, you can see. And I'm sure you guys already know what these look like, because they've been around for ages. But these are going to be toppers for the pillars. So we are going to paint them in gold to begin with, but eventually they'll look kind of brassy, because we'll give them a verdigris coat and a dry brush. And yeah, they'll just kind of bring a little bit of a pop of colour to the bridge, basically. But it's cool that I can show you guys that now. Granted, they're not painted, but you can get a better look at them. Blood for the Blood God. Oh, hell yeah, this is awesome. Thank you, Blood for the Blood God. This is all made possible because of Ginger Steve. Every part of it right now is because of his generosity. So yeah, you guys get a better viewing experience, and right now, hopefully a better audio experience as well. Just don't go back and watch the beginning of this stream, because it was awful. It was like it was a real shit show. Okay, so let's get back to it. Another thing to note is that we're going to make the top of the bridge a little bit more messy, because this is supposed to kind of represent a bridge that clearly isn't used anymore, hence the big holes in it. What I'm going to do is make the top of it a little bit, make the top of it a little bit more dusty as well. So we'll probably paint some rubble up there to reflect what you can see on the ground level. And maybe a few little gribblies up there, plus our walkways. So we're going to have some cobbled together walkways using like tank armor, different bits of sheet metal and stuff like that, just to kind of show that ragtag, cobbled together effect that we want out in the ash wastes. King of the Dead, that would be really cool detail on the bridge. Although the original pieces aren't that pointy, we have the bridge at my local gaming club in Oslo, and everyone's got both eyes so far after playing on the table. Okay, well, I mean, granted, I know that people are you know, perfectly able. Maybe it was just because of me, because I kind of leant over the table and I'm like, something could go wrong here. But, you know, if I want to make a proper excuse, I could say like, oh, it looks cooler with the statues on, you know. And hopefully it will. Big Brain, now you're becoming a 40k hobby content creator. It's time to go on Astravale's Jeopardy hammer. Is it bad if I don't know what that is? I don't watch too much stuff on YouTube, so please forgive me. That's not a slight against any other content creator. I have like 2 or 3 that I watch, I suppose. But a lot of the time when I am listening to stuff on YouTube, it's like it's like horror stories and kind of like I want to say folklore-esque stuff. Just while I'm creating, I tend not to listen to much Warhammer stuff. But yeah, I don't know about that. Big Brain, did I hear someone playing 40k in Oslo? Is that a fellow Norwegian we have, Big Brain? It must be. You've got someone else to talk to, Big Brain. Look at that. Huzzah! Again, it might look like it, but I'm trying not to be too careful with this lead belcher that I'm adding, just because, you know, there's quite a bit of this to do, and it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't need to be perfect, because it's going to be all weathered and battered and everything anyway. So for some of these bigger areas, I might actually give them like a sponge of Rhinox hide, just to kind of
show some chipping. And then once we have put some Nuln Oil through the airbrush, it's just going to be perfect and blend in nicely. And these imperial eagles that are above the grates are also going to be painted metal. I'm just going to try not to do too much of it, you know. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to pick out loads of the bolts, because obviously we want to get a nice level of detail. We want to make sure that it's very interesting to look at, and even more importantly, interesting to have a game on. But you know, we are on the clock here, basically. And if you look behind me at the Golden Throne, you'll see what happens when you're not put on the clock. If you don't set limits for yourself, you're just gonna keep working. Not that it's a problem for me, because I kind of enjoy working on the Golden Throne, but realistically, it's been quite a while in the making, so sometimes it's definitely worth putting a time limit on things. I'm also aware you'll get to see my concentration face in 4K now. There'll be absolutely no hiding it. With the old camera, I could kind of get away with stuff just because the quality wasn't that great. But this, 4K, you're gonna see everything. You're even gonna see the old shrimp pose as well that I do when I'm painting. Got awful posture now. King of the Dead, now I'm playing here, although 40k is the most popular game around. Is that in Norway, King of the Dead, 40k being the most popular? Technically, this table is going to encompass Necromunda, 40k, and Horus Heresy. So you should be able to play any of them on this once it's done. Still quite warm here, so I find that even with the wet palette, the paint does have a tendency to dry quite quickly. I'm probably going to need some more. It has been absolutely hell for trying to get anything undercoated with spray cans. You've got to wait till it gets dark, or you've got to do it really early in the morning. So that's what I've had to do most of the time. Jock, need to paint my minis before trying to play Legion Imperialis. Oh, I see you're making some progress though. They're looking good. I've seen a few of your pictures on the Discord, Jock. King of the Dead, yeah, I think 40k, it's the biggest in Norway. It is, without a doubt, the largest war game in Oslo. Old World has a big following too. That's interesting to know. I feel like Old World came back and I don't know. I think it's really cool. I've always had like a bit of a soft spot for the Old World, but I also feel like I don't know. I feel like it didn't have as much hype as I was expecting, but that might just be me because caveat, I don't actually play the game. I just see what's shown to me online. But that's the impression I got. I might be completely wrong. Probably am completely wrong, to be fair. Big Brain, there are not many 40k players in contacting Jovic. That's why Big Brain's here. He just needs me to start playing now, don't you, Big Brain? Turn it into a gaming channel. 40k gaming. Just means I have to learn how to play 40k because I don't have a clue. Okay, let's get a bit more paint. So I've opted to go for a kind of silverish metallic with lead belcher for some of these details. Just because once we put the kind of gold statues on the top, or gold/brass statues on the top, I want them to pop. So, you know, having a colour that kind of ties in with the grey seems to work. Seems to be the better option. Viet Cong, howdy. How is it going, Viet Cong? Welcome to another stream. You might be able to tell by my voice that I am desperately trying to regulate my volume, because we've had like 3 months, I think, of streaming, and I've been shouting at that laptop mic. So right now I'm desperately trying to regulate how loud I am. But hopefully it's working. It is. And our visual quality of the streams has stuttering already, has increased greatly. We're streaming in 4K now, so you can see everything that's going on. Look at that. Fantastic stuff. The only thing I'm worried about now is when I go and take a big swig out of the Red Bull can next to me, is that you are going to get all of that audio. You are going to get all that delicious audio. I've not come in contact with Mjolshammer. Neither have I. I know a few creators on Instagram. If anything, that's where I know people from. I don't spend, like I said, I don't spend too much time on YouTube. But Instagram, I kind of know creators on there. Always take recommendations for interesting stuff to watch though. If there's something Warhammer related that you guys really enjoy and that you think I'd enjoy, I'll go for it. I do watch a couple of the sort of terrain guys. So I've mentioned him a few times, and I know most people are probably aware of him now because he's a huge channel. But I always enjoy watching Eric's stuff, Eric's Hobby Workshop, just because he does equally, well, I'd say bigger projects actually, to be fair, and it's just brilliant to watch. Love the style, it feels kind of chill. Yeah, so if for some crazy reason you are unaware of him, I would recommend that. I would recommend that channel. King of the Dead, if they're still active, that would be a gaming club in Govik. Outside of that, I am unaware of active gaming club. Oh, you guys are getting it sorted. The Norwegians are getting it sorted for gaming. I think Big Brain is looking for someone to play a couple of games with. Oh yeah, Discord. King of the Dead, if you're unaware, I should probably be saying all these things, but I just completely forget. We have a little community Discord for those of you who want to share what you're working on. Also, I'm active over there too, sharing the progress that we make on this board for Hobby House. So it's open to everyone and anyone. And if you're interested, you can find a link for it in the description of this video. So feel free to check it out. Cool, we're getting there. So this one is nearly done. I have a feeling that painting these might take longer than one stream, but if it does, it does. When I am able, I do spend time on this build when I'm not doing my 9 to 5. And luckily I've got some time at the moment, so Friday is going to be a day that I spend some more time getting this bad boy ready for action. King of the Dead, if you like horror, Vox in the Void could tickle your fancy. A Vox in the Void. A Vox in the Void. I feel like I may have heard that name, but I haven't listened to it, and I do like horror stuff. Oh, that's it. When I do listen to lore, I listen to Luton as well, because I know Luton he knows what he's talking about, that guy. And he's also very soothing. So yeah, that's one of my go-tos when I am watching stuff. In fact, the only time I kind of really consume Warhammer content is I got the Black Library app, so I've got a couple of books on there, and I plug them in when I'm sleeping or when I'm trying to go to sleep. Just plug a story in, and that's my kind of main Warhammer content, I guess, when I'm going to bed. I do have to like restart chapters quite often, as you can tell, because I fall asleep and then I'm like, oh, where was I? What was the last thing I remember before falling asleep? But I am particularly finding the Caiaphas Cain audiobooks to be like some of the most enjoyable audiobooks that I've listened to. I love the narration, the kind of like voice acting is really good, and the stories themselves are also really good. It's kind of got that perfect balance of like action, lore, humor. It's just fantastic, really. I'm surprised I slept on them for so long, because it's only something that I've got into recently. Big Brain, I have a couple of friends from uni who plays 40k. Fair enough, Big Brain. I don't think, yeah. Say I don't think. I know I don't have any friends who play 40k. I've tried to play 40k with one of my friends a long time ago now, but we just kind of fell out of the rhythm of it, and I think we were getting most of it wrong anyway. But yeah, I don't know whether I'll ever pick it up, to be fair. Not because the game doesn't look interesting. I think the game looks pretty damn interesting. It's more, unfortunately for me, having the time to do it. Because sometimes, unfortunately, I find I'm a little bit pushed for time, even when I'm just kind of working on my own projects, you know. And I feel like injecting games of 40k into that situation are, well, it's only going to make things a little bit slower. Maybe one day, though. Big Brain, Luton09 has helped me sleep. Yeah, he was my go-to. Luton was, and then, I mean, I still do occasionally listen to some of his stuff when I go to sleep, but not as often as I did, and that's only because I've been listening to the audiobooks on Black Library. I did tune in to watch one of his new Worst Jobs videos that he done not too long ago, which I thought was really good. So I still do listen and watch, but the Caiaphas Cain novels have taken a front row seat for the time being. But I'm sure I shall return when that flavour of the month loses its taste. I also got a little bit worried because I remember, I don't know if it was like earlier this year, I did find that I kept getting recommended a lot of stuff that was AI generated, like I had AI generated thumbnails and AI generated stories. I think some of the voiceovers were even AI, and I was like, why am I being recommended this crap? Please, no. And I was kind of worried that maybe I'd end up seeing more of that, but thankfully that hasn't seemed to be the case. We need a little bit more water. Part of me wishes there was a little bit of a quicker way to do this, because it's a wee bit fiddly. And I think, like I said, I've been a little bit spoilt using the airbrush. Gaahleri sent me an airbrush a few weeks ago, and I've been making full use of it for this project. Like all the bridge, all the terrain. I also picked out some of the smaller details so far, like the rocks and the patches of different coloured rocks. So it's been really helpful. It's been a really good tool to use. but I've got used to using it, and it's speeding everything up. And now when I got to crack the paintbrush out, it feels like we slow right down again. But it's going to be what it's going to be, isn't it? King of the Dead, painting markers from AK or Army Painter might speed the process up. I've seen it used to great effect. I see, King of the Dead. Maybe that is something I need to investigate. I feel like me being in this hobby, I feel like I'm always kind of slightly behind with everything, you know? I don't know why. Maybe it's stubbornness. I think definitely when I started back 4 or 5 years ago painting again, I was stubborn when it came to trying new things. So the only thing that kind of pushed me out of that was watching, you know, like looking at other people's paint jobs, which a lot of that was kind of governed by Instagram at the time. And then once I started pushing myself out of the comfort zone, I think the first iteration of that was using an oil wash for one of the miniatures I painted, just to give the kind of grim dark effect. And when I'd done it, I was really happy with the way the miniature looked. So I was thinking to myself, maybe I gotta try some different methods here instead of just using like the same Citadel colors all the time. So, much like where we are now, there's probably quite a few tools that I need to try, I think, and, you know, different paints, different methods. Because any way to save time, but still have your miniatures looking good, is nothing but a bonus, really. So, yeah. And King of the Dead, if you do decide to join the Discord, feel free to put that information in the Discord so I don't forget. Because sometimes I feel like the information can pass me by on here, even though I fully acknowledged it. I got a brain like a sieve. I do. Get a little bit more. Alright, are you prepared for this? I'm about to take a swig of the Red Bull and I just wonder how audible this is going to be. Hopefully not too audible. And wonder if you'll be able to see that. This isn't supposed to spin around so easily, but for some reason, because the floor is a little bit wonky in the studio, it means I can spin this around quite easily. But hopefully you should be able to see the sort of metallic effect. It does blend in a bit more with the bridge since it's kind of close to the grey in terms of tone. But it's just to give it a little bit of detail, basically. I don't want to go too crazy on the bridge because it is quite a big piece of terrain. The way that we will include our detail is through like smaller little bits and pieces, basically. But yeah, it looks all right. Oh, and the music would have to stop right then, wouldn't it? The background music would have to go on its loop. Alright, apologies if that was clear as day, that swigging. Let's get a bit more paint. Mike Palantino, is this for 40k? Well, Mike, it can be used for 40k. This game will be compatible with 40k, Necromunda, and Horus Heresy. It's going to be a 6 foot by 4 foot board. And yeah, you'll be able to use it in different game systems. I just went a bit, I changed it up a bit today. I did. Usually I put the Warhammer logo in the thumbnails, but I thought today, you know what? I'll put a splash of colour and I will use the Necromunda logo. And not just as bait, because it can be used in Necromunda. If anything, that would be the main system, because it's supposed to be Necromunda. It's supposed to be like Hive City / Ash Wastes. So yeah, arguably that's the most compatible game. But long story short, that is a yes, Mike. And if you're anywhere close to Southampton, it will be available to play on in the very near future, as I will be bringing it down to Hobby House, where it will be an available board to play some games on for any of you who fancy trying it out. Mike, I would like to get into Warhammer. Where do I start? Oh, Mike, I feel like in some ways you might be asking the wrong person. It depends what aspect you would like to get into. You know, is it gaming? Is it painting? Is it all of it? I feel like, depending on how much you know about the universe, reading up or listening to some of the lore would be a very good place to start. If it's painting the models and you've got a box of miniatures, there are plenty of resources for how to paint things. You just have to decide what you want to paint and what color scheme, basically. So yeah, plenty of places to start. You could always buy the starter box as well if you want just all the rules and the miniatures. It's fairly easy to get into, Mike. It's just a slippery slope is Warhammer. You'll end up, like me, with a bunch of miniatures around you that you might never get to paint. I feel like that's what happens with a lot of us. But hey, it's opportunity. If anything, it is opportunity. Big Brain, how is flying with minis? How is flying with minis, Big Brain? I've never flown with minis. I don't think many of my miniatures have left my house, or left this studio, even. Toby, the Warhammer Academy, oh yeah, that's a good one as well, actually. Toby's suggestion there, Mike. The Warhammer Academy is very good. Yeah, maybe try that one out, and I think that's all a free resource at the moment, so definitely worth a try. Mike, I want to play the tabletop, but also want to learn how to paint. Well, Mike, I think as Toby has cleverly suggested there, the Warhammer Academy is a very good resource to use, and it should set you on the right path. I feel like I'm giving you a bit of a crap answer purely because I can't remember. You know, when I got into this hobby, I was very young, and I can't even remember sort of like how I learned to play. I remember like what got me into it. Oh, Ginger Steve, how's the camera? Thank you for the donation. It's fantastic, Ginger Steve. It is incredible. You've got a much better field of view. You guys can see what I'm working on now. Yeah, very, very cool. Thank you, Steve. I had a bit of a hiccup at the beginning trying to sort my audio out because, as I've kind of explained in the past, I'm really bad with tech. So had a little bit of a hiccup with that. I think we've kind of sorted it out now, so I should be nice and clear. Maybe some of the levels need adjusting, but it should be nice and clear now. But yes, it is really fantastic, Steve. Thank you very much. For today's stream, we are just trying to get some of the metalwork picked out on the bridge for the new gaming board. So at the moment I'm using some lead belcher just to pick out some of the details that are going to be on the bridge. I have explained that we're not going too crazy with details on the bridge because it is quite a big, imposing piece of scenery. What we are going to do is pick out these metal areas, and we are going to add some statues to the top and paint them up nicely as well. And then a lot of the other visual storytelling will be told with little gribblies. We're going to make the top of the bridge a bit more messy as well, and maybe add some kind of posters flying around. So yeah, that's the aim for today's stream anyway, is to get some lead belcher on this thing. King of the Dead, with a good case you can do it, but be prepared for some minor damage to them after the flight. I flew to a tournament in Helsinki and only had one sword break. That sounds like a win. That sounds like a win. I feel like depending on what you're transporting is gonna, you know, make you twitch a little bit more, because surely like Space Marines, they're big and rounded. It's gonna be quite hard to break them. But you know, if you've got like High Elves or something like that, or Drakkari, I feel like you're going to be really twitching on your journey just because of all of those pointy bits. That chair looks uncomfortable, says Big Brain. Do you know what, Big Brain? I went to Brecon Beacons last weekend and I couldn't find my camping chair, so I bought this chair. So this chair has left the studio and gone to Brecon Beacons. It's not too bad. It does the job. It does. It's just a cheapy chair. But I'm not worried. I don't think it's the chair that's really the discomfort. I think it's my awful painting posture is the problem. Toby, new chair fun. I don't need a new chair. My chair is great. I like my chair. Even folds up neatly. Mike, I left MTG after 25 years and some of the models remind me of that. I guess that's what drew me in. Well, I have a feeling then, Mike, if you are a person who has really enjoyed MTG, I feel like the art is going to be a very big thing for you in 40k. If you look, well, not just 40k, in Warhammer in general, if you look back at some of the artwork that's been produced for Warhammer over the years, yeah, I think that's going to open it up for you, basically. So I would start there. I would definitely start with John Blanche, who we sadly lost this year. His art is kind of, for me, it defines, and I'm sure for a lot of people, sort of defines 40k. So if you are interested in the art, I'm just kind of putting that together because of the art that you get on the Magic the Gathering cards. But yeah, John Blanche's stuff, if you check that out, that might well float your boat and give you an idea of the themes of 40k. He done a very famous 3rd edition Black Templar piece, which is what got me into this hobby at probably 10 years old, I think it was, when I seen that. Just couldn't stop staring at it. And to be fair, I've got it in front of me up on the shelf and I still can't stop staring at it. It's just such an iconic piece of art. Awkward GM Corbin. I recently opened up the Hive City map from Dawn of War 2 and it was so flat and uninteresting except for places units could walk on. That's such a shame. That is such a shame. So I can't relate, unfortunately, because I haven't played Dawn of War 2. I haven't actually played any of the Dawn of War games. But I feel like when it comes to Hive Cities and the Ash Wastes as kind of a location, I feel like they should be just crammed with detail and storytelling, and really, you know, I don't know, make you want to play, basically, make you want to play the game. So we're going to kind of try and reflect that with what we're doing here with the Ash Wastes meets the Hive City, well, Hive City meets the Ash Wastes gaming board. Is, you know, you're going to want to play on this, basically. I feel like that makes it sound like I'm patting my own back, like, oh, I'm doing a good job. But no, what I mean is I just want it to draw you into the game. You know, I want you to be able to become immersed when you're playing a game of 40k or Necromunda or Heresy on this. So, yeah, we're going to try and push that level of detail. But it's a shame that wasn't really shown off in Dawn of War 2, but bear in mind, isn't that quite an old game now? So maybe there's limitations. I don't know. Toby, oh, by the way, huge trick for metallics huge tip for metallics. Sharpies, that's how I smashed out much of the terrain at Horus Heresy. They take a wash really well. A Zorp trick. I think I'm going to have to try that, Toby. I think someone else recommended that as well a while back, and I just completely forgot about it, so I apologize to whoever recommended that, and I just completely disregarded them. Yeah, I think we will give some other methods a try. I think we'll push on with this for the time being, just so we're actually getting some done. But that does sound like a much more effective way of doing it, Toby. It does. And like I said, once they've got a shade on them anyway, it's, you know, you're not going to be able to really tell. What do we got here? I like the people who add a diorama aspect to the models. Well, Mike, I think you've come to the right place. I think you have come to the right place. Yours truly here is still building a golden throne with probably too much detail. I mean, I feel like it's become a little bit of a joke at this point because I want to make everything detailed. And unfortunately, you know, there's only a finite amount of time. We're all on this planet with a finite amount of time, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to paint the edges of tiles. I'm going to paint all these little sigils on cogitators. So yeah, if you like detail, Mike, you've come to the right place. And this piece that we're working on now for Hobby House is, we want to kind of meet in the middle where it comes to diorama and gaming board. So basically we want it to have more detail than your average gaming board, but not quite diorama, you know, detail under rocks kind of stuff. Big brain, without John Blanche there would be a massive... there wouldn't be a massive throne in the studio. You're right. If that's what you were trying to say, wouldn't. Big brain is right. Without John, there wouldn't be. I'm not sure what I would be doing, actually, if I wasn't in this hobby. I don't know how I would be spending my time. Maybe more wisely. Awkward GM, are the overpasses walkable? How do units get on top of it? Well, Awkward GM, we are going to have, I haven't added it yet, but we're going to have a little method for miniatures to be able to scale to the top. And on top of that, we are going to have some kind of ramshackle walkways. So what I'm going to do is use different bits of plasticard, different textured plasticard, maybe some of the doors from the Munitorum containers, and I'm basically going to make these makeshift looking walkways. So therefore you'll be able to sort of traverse across the whole bridge. And when it comes to adding our hive wall section, I've still got a few pieces of bridge left, so the bridge will be able to sort of connect to the Hive City. So it'll all be playable, you know, it'll all be traversable and playable. The only thing is, I think you will be limited to infantry. That's it, infantry with the bridge, because I don't think I think you could fit a rhino across it, but a rhino isn't going to go across a cobbled together walkway. I'm pretty sure they're heavy. Have you touched the throne the last month? I haven't, Big Brain. I haven't. I've been very, very busy working on this board for Hobby House. But we are going to get back to it. So fear not. I did explain previously that one of the nice things about working on this project is to have a little bit of a break. Because the throne sometimes, as much as I enjoy the project, it can become quite all-encompassing if it's the only thing I'm doing when I'm involved in the hobby, if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to complain or anything like that, because it was my choice to do it. No one's forced me to do it. But when you're creating, it's nice to keep things fresh and to be able to experiment and work on different things. It keeps the burnout at bay. So being able to work with Hobby House to produce this piece of scenery for people to game on is just, you know, it's good for me. It is only beneficial for the creator here. Big Brain, I forget question marks. That's all right, Big Brain. I get the gist. I added a post about hobby tips on the Discord server. That's awesome. Thank you, King of the Dead. Useful resources are always welcome. Mike, I'm not a fan of pristine-looking models. I prefer a realistic look. Scuffs on the leather, cracks in the armor, battle damage. I think I do as well, Mike. I think to a certain degree I do. It's nice for things sort of not to be pristine. like when I paint my, when I paint my marines, on the rare occasion I paint a marine, I like to add battle damage to it. I like to get a sponge and rhinox hide and add some chips and weathering and stuff like that. But in the same vein, I do like seeing people's nicely painted, pristine models sometimes. I feel like there is a definite art to being able to paint like a very pristine looking model. But I get what you're saying, Mike, and I do feel the same way too. Oh, Big Brain, did you forget a question mark? You've redacted your message. Okay, let's do another one of these. So we've got like 2. That one may need another coat actually. Let me just get these last little bits. So one of the only issues is, you know, going with a grey might be that it does tie into the Mechanica standard grey a little bit too well. So that's my only issue. But I think once we've got our statues up there, it's going to look really good. Big Brain, the Asurani should look flawless. Do you know what, Big Brain? I think that is right. I do think that is right. I feel like they would take extra care and consideration when it comes to how they look. So I can get on board with that. I can. And I don't mind when Space Marines look clean either, but my preference is to have a little bit of battle damage. King of the Dead, you might enjoy looking at scale model painting techniques. There are lots of ways to add realistic wear and tear to what you are painting. Yeah, I've seen a few. I've definitely seen a few. I look at a lot of Necromunda models and Necromunda terrain. One of my hashtags that I always type in on Instagram is Necromunda terrain, just because I can look at what other people are doing. And I've seen some fantastic methods. One that I want to try is the hairspray method, the water-soluble hairspray method. So giving your, whatever you're painting, like for example, I'd probably use one of the shipping containers, giving it a base coat of like a brown, then a coat of varnish, and then adding your hairspray and spraying on top of that with whichever color you want. And then basically when it's dried, you can use a bit, is it soapy water, I think? Or maybe just water even, not soapy water. And you scratch at it with the toothbrush and it leaves a very, very cool, like chipped and weathered effect. So I would like to use that for one of the shipping containers. And then, yeah, I've seen like different oils and stuff used, oil washes, panel liners. I think the AK stuff I'd like to use a bit more. I've got a few different paints and, as I said, like pigments from AK, but I'd definitely like to expand the arsenal because I think they just, you know, their kind of quality of stuff is really good. So I would like to become a bit more familiar with more of their stuff. Mike, King of the Dead, it's mainly because I'm terrible at painting. There's always different levels when it comes to painting. You've just, you know, you just got to do it, basically. I know that sounds really brutal, but the more you paint, the more you learn. But always bear in mind that lots of people who start painting are always critical of their work. I've been doing this hobby for quite a long time now, and I am still very critical of my own work. So you've just got to kind of have fun with it. And also realize that, you know, some models we're going to paint up and they're not going to be perfect, but if you had fun painting them and just chilling out, maybe listening to something in the background, yeah, and if you had fun, that's worth it. Like, that's part of the hobby. And the over-analyzing only lasts for so long. Like, when you move on to another model, you kind of forget about it. So something that I've had in the past is I will paint up a model, kind of be like, you know, I could have done this better, could have done this better. I'll move on or start working on something else. And then one day I'll kind of look at it on the shelf and I'll be like, oh, I've done quite a nice job on that. So there is also that to bear in mind, that when you're looking at your own model you're painting for so long, you don't feel it looks the way you want it to. But then if you kind of take a step back and look at it again, you realize that you've done a good job on it. So don't worry about the painting is what I'm saying, Mike, just go for it. King of the Dead, I get that. It takes time to learn the skills. Slow and smooth, and slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Exactly. Exactly. It's all swings and roundabouts when it comes to painting. You just got to get stuck in. I wish I had learnt that much earlier on in this hobby, because in this studio now I have tons of boxes of miniatures. Even more now, Toby has loaded me up with scenery to use, so yeah, a lot less space now. But before that, I got loads of models, basically, loads of miniatures that I've accumulated over the years, and lots of them, well, 90% of them aren't painted, and that's because I feel like for the longest time I was always waiting for an opportunity to paint them. And you know, if you're always waiting for that opportunity and always waiting to achieve a certain skill level, you're not going to have any fun. You're just going to have this pile of opportunity. So it's better just to get stuck in. Okay, let's get started on this other pillar. Painting clean models isn't that hard. Well, Big Brain, I reckon that's all dependent. Because you are a person who can freehand details, Big Brain, so you might have an advantage that some people don't yet. I feel like for me as well, it would probably be quite hard for me to paint a clean model nowadays. Still give it a go at some point. I might actually, pardon me, I might actually try a relatively clean model to feature on the Golden Throne or on the diorama, because I feel like the custodies that feature in the throne room, maybe not the ones that are too close to the Emperor for obvious reasons, might be a little bit cleaner. Who knows? It's going to be interesting when we move back to doing some more videos on the throne room as well, because now we have the new camera. I'm going to be able to show you guys the actual detail. We definitely, using the last camera, could not see a lot of the details that I've added. So now we have 4K capabilities, it'll be much easier for me to show you guys the silly little details that I've put in it. Ah, that's you. I mean, again, Big Brain, different skill levels. People pick things up differently, different speeds. I've seen a few people on Instagram that have improved their painting skills vastly in a short amount of time. But it's, I don't know, different strokes for different folks. I've been doing this hobby for a long time now. There has been a break in between, a very long break, but you know, I still feel like I always have things to learn. So yeah, different strokes for different folks. But fair play with the freehand, Big Brain, because I know you're good at it. I know you like painting all those checkers. All those Harlequin checkers. Mad. I can't imagine doing that. I don't think I will ever paint up a Harlequin while I'm involved in this hobby. I don't think I'm ready to lose my mind yet. Whirlwind, can't say I've tried stroking different folks. Well, I'll leave that up to you, I'll message redacted very quickly. I'll leave that up to you, Whirl. I'll message redacted very quickly. I'll leave that up to you, Whirl. I'll message redacted very quickly. I'll leave that up to you, Whirl. I'll message redacted very quickly. I'll leave that up to you, Whirl. I'll message redacted very quickly. I think someone thought a bit better about sending that message. I can see the funny side of it though, Whirlwind. I can see the funny side of it. I'm not offended. I kind of feel like someone was going to say something like that. It's an odd expression, granted. But what I'm just trying to say is that people achieve things at different paces and different speeds. And it doesn't really matter as long as you are having a good time. See, look, this is still drying quite quickly. Definitely drying quicker than it usually would. Big Brain, I like painting banners. Who doesn't, Big Brain? That's a bit of fun. I think you can see the funny side of that as well, Whirlwind. I think we're going to load up with a little bit more paint than usual, just because it's drying out quicker than it normally would. Cool, so let's keep it going. Give you guys a better angle of it. I had contemplated giving the whole bridge an oil wash, but I held off doing it because it would be such an enormous task, and I feel like we can achieve a very similar effect with the airbrush. Kind of similar to how I painted the ground level of the ash wastes here. Is some of you will notice that there's kind of these like subtle tones underneath. So in certain areas you'll be able to see like a greenish tone. And I feel like that kind of effect will mimic what can be achieved with oils when it comes to the bridge. So I definitely wouldn't have painted the bridge without an airbrush. It would have been way too much of a task, because with the airbrush you're just able to get that tonal variation, and it looks way better than anything I could have achieved with even just like flat coats of spray, because I kind of primed this with as close to a zenithal as you can call it, I guess. And then sort of amplified it a little bit more with the airbrush, and I think it looks pretty good. You know, I feel like I definitely couldn't have replicated this with just a paintbrush. I mean, further down the line we're still going to crack out the oils. For stuff like the shipping containers we're going to add and the barrels, we'll definitely oil wash them, just because it makes them look 100 times better. Oh, I'm missing some stuff. I was never scared of failing or messing up my minis. That's a good attitude to have, Big Brain. That is a very good attitude to have. Just thin your paint and it will be okay. Thinning your paint is always a good thing to do. It is always worth adding a little bit of water. When you start with a base coat, how long do you wait before you start painting again? Oh, well, if I'm using the sprays, Mike, I think it takes about 15 minutes. And then it'll be dry, it'll be safe enough to work on. The only thing I would recommend you be careful with is just the temperatures, because the paint, the undercoat can react differently depending on what the temperature is. So yeah, I would just check, because it's a little bit warm at the moment, at least here in the UK. So the sprays can be a little bit temperamental. But yeah, if you give them like 15-20 minutes to dry, you can start painting on them. My other piece of unsolicited advice would be not to hold your spray can too close to your miniatures either. Just make sure you've got a little bit of distance, just so you get a nice light coat to work on. I'm making it sound a little bit complicated, but it's not, Mike. It's really not. So you should be able to, you know, get on top of it, basically. And also, Mike, like I mentioned earlier, if you are new here and you want to kind of, you know, you got any questions, you want any resources, feel free to join the Discord, because there are a lot of helpful sort of community members that will point you in the right direction should you need help. And if I'm there, I shall also do the same thing. What else we got? Touch dry, yeah, King of the Dead got it, touch dry. But usually I find that's like 15-20 minutes for a nice dry base to work on. Question, you are on a long flight. The person in front of you puts their chair fully back before takeoff. Would you A, say something to the person, B, call or wait for the hostess, C, nothing? Glenn, why do I feel like you were here on the last stream asking those questions just so out of the blue? Okay, well, what would I do? I feel like I would probably say something, but I wouldn't approach the situation with an attitude straight away. I would ask politely first. I'd be like, well, do you mind putting your chair forward a little bit? Obviously, I'm not adverse to, like, people are allowed to put their chair back, but just don't, you know, not too close. I just ask them to readjust it politely. And then I suppose if they were being rude and belligerent, we would go for option B and press the little bell, keep pressing the little bell. So yeah, I think we'll go with A, failing that B, Glenn. Big brain, it depends on how annoyed I am. Mike, you don't have to wait for the paint to cure. Well, where you're tagging someone, aren't you? So, Big brain, I don't worry when painting if it's dry or not. You've got to let it dry. I mean, for your base coat, you've got to let it dry. I find if you get, you know, if you start too soon after you've undercoated your miniatures, it's just, you leave like thumbprints and fingerprints on it. So if I was going to recommend something, I'd just say 15-20 minutes. But obviously if you're working on different colours on the miniature, it's kind of fine just to keep going and get stuck in. The Warhammer paints tend to dry quite quickly. The only ones that might require, well, not might, they do require longer time to dry is the contrast paints. That's also a good recommendation for Mike as well. If you're a little bit worried about painting, the contrast paints, they help quite a lot. Especially if you're worried about the amount of detail you can put in your miniatures, because the contrast paints tend to pool in all the deeper recesses and they give quite a nice detailed effect. And you can work from them. You can use them as a base. So obviously you'd put your undercoat, then you'd use your contrast paint, and then you can kind of work from there if you want to add further details, basically. But they are a really good starting point. Whirlwind, if all else fails, order a bottle of water. Or douse them with it. Just hold it over the front seat and squeeze it out. Feel like that might get you in trouble, Whirlwind. Mike, the community for MTG is the main reason why I left. It became too toxic. I have always heard bad stories about Warhammers. Heard bad stories about Warhammers? I think every hobby, Mike, probably has those people who make it not so enjoyable. You're going to get them everywhere. The best bet is to just ignore them. Move on, ignore them. One of the things that we're kind of lucky to have here is that the lovely members of this community built around this channel are all fantastic. So all the regulars who are involved with the Discord are just fantastic, friendly, welcoming. So Don't be afraid to just get stuck in, Mike. It's not so bad. The good in Warhammer definitely outweighs the tiny bit of bad. And unfortunately, no matter what you do in life, you're always going to have some people who want to ruin it. But you just got to take comfort in knowing that the vast majority of people do not want to do that. So, Big Brain, I spray my minis long before painting. I agree with Big Brain, I also do that. I have a tendency to spray things the night before or the day before I work on them, just so they're nice and, you know, like fully dry. I mean, they'd probably be fully dry like half an hour after you paint them. But yeah, I like to do that as well. Mike, so far 99% of the Warhammer people I've talked to haven't had bad reactions. Well, no, I mean, that's the thing, Mike. I've been involved, well, back involved with this hobby for about 5 years now. And, you know, I kind of started over on Instagram with dioramas and stuff like that. Basically, from the 5 years I've been doing this, I probably had less than 20 sort of bad conversations with people. But you can just block people. You don't have to deal with people if they're being crappy. Most people involved in this hobby are fantastic and kind of, you know, all enjoy the same thing. So yeah, it's mainly a fun place to be, but you're always going to get crappy people. But that doesn't matter what hobby you do, Mike. You could do something that isn't Warhammer and you'd probably still get outliers, but don't let them put you off what you are interested in doing, because it's a huge shame and you're just letting them win. Big Brain, I think you're asking Mike there, aren't you, Big Brain? Big Brain has many black minis, so I guess a lot of Big Brains have been undercoated. If you didn't like the meta, you were trash because they didn't like you coming up with your own ideas. Well, that doesn't sound very fun. That doesn't sound very fun at all. I like this hobby because you can just create and do what you want. You bought a box of miniatures and you want to paint them pink or purple, go for it. The whole point is to have some fun. Take a break from the real world. It's definitely what I like to do. And on this channel, my main focus is scenery. I really enjoy scenery. Didn't used to be that way. I used to just enjoy kind of painting miniatures. I wasn't too bothered about scenery. But since getting back into this hobby and making two Golden Throne dioramas, I just got really into making small diorama scenes, and that's kind of extended into scenery now. So yeah. Okay, let's pick out this other wing. Doing a little bit too much chatting again, I am. Have a tendency to get a little bit too caught up sometimes. This community is a supporter, but it is Big Brain. Big Brain is absolutely right. And I will reiterate that the members on Discord are all fantastic. They all show photographs. Well, most people show photographs of what they're working on. You know, there's always different painting styles, different skill levels and all that sort of stuff. But everyone is welcome. Oh, keep forgetting I put my water on this side. And even when I'm doing this, I still ask people for advice, you know. I don't feel like you ever get to a stage where you know everything. Obviously there's a stage you can be at where you're more confident with what you're doing and your abilities and everything, but I feel like there's always room to learn in this hobby. which is one of the nicer aspects of it. And there's always a fantastic community who will help you do that. Mike, I want to learn tabletop because I love strategy games. The painting part is to help with my sobriety. Well, painting is a fantastic pastime, Mike. It really is. It's just nice to kind of immerse yourself for a few hours. Like I said, you can put something on in the background and listen to it while you're painting. It's very, very cathartic. I find it very cathartic. So, my only advice is to just get stuck in, Mike. Pick a miniature that interests you and slap some paint on it. Glenn, so you could say you enjoy change of scenery. I do, Glenn. I do. This project is the change of scenery. For the time being, just to take a little break from the throne. And like I've said, this is kind of quite different in the sense that people are going to be gaming on this. So whereas the Golden Throne might see a game or two, it's mainly going to be a diorama, basically. So this is an opportunity for me to create something that other people can use and kind of enjoy and immerse themselves in when they're playing their game of Necromunda or 40k or Heresy. What I want to do is just provide them with some interesting scenery and terrain to really stoke the imagination while the game is playing out. Big Brain, are you adverse to being called your name? I think so. Not averse, Big Brain. Not adverse, Big Brain. But I would prefer if you used me handle. If that's okay with you. Not because I don't love you, Big Brain, but I like the handle. Thomas, hi, where did you buy those bridge ruins? Well, Thomas, these are available as a 3D printable design by, I want to get this right this time, because I feel like I've said it quite a few times, Sarcus Mundus. And you can buy them, I think, as an STL, or you can buy physical prints from certain licensed vendors on eBay. I done neither. This kit has been provided to me by Hobby House, and is going to be one of the main focal points of the new board that I'm building for them. It won't be the main focal point. The main focal point will be the Hive wall, but this will be one of the 3 other smaller focal points. No problem, Thomas. King of the Dead, King of the Dead's got the same idea. He's got the answer. He's very familiar with it. Big Brain, it's fine. Thank you, Big Brain. I appreciate you. Toby, the dream of having Hobby House full of Imperium Nihilus tables for the community to come and play is the reality I'm living for, and it's the reality I want to deliver, Toby. It is. It's just an opportunity to work on different things, really, you know, and kind of bring that wonder. This is going to sound a little bit corny, I think, but bring that wonder of Warhammer back. Because when I was younger, I remember going to Warhammer World and seeing all these just crazy tables, you know, all these fantastically built and designed gaming tables. And what we want to do is bring that level of gaming to Hobby House and bring that level of immersion. So I'm going to create some scenery to achieve that. And there is already some fantastic scenery down at Hobby House. I haven't finished my table yet, but if you want to go and have a game, they offer some fantastic boards to play on. One of my favorite being the, I can't remember how long you told me it took to print it off, Toby, but you have a very cool like Mordheim fantasy board with lots of different levels of terrain, lots of buildings with like 2 stories, 3 stories, gates, sewers. It's just incredible, and it's massive. It is absolutely massive. So you can play on that as well. You can go down to Hobby House with your Warhammer miniatures and you can play on that table. Fantastic build. Thomas, great, thanks for the info. No problem, Thomas. Mike, I put a light over the models while I paint. Will that help me with learning how to shade properly? It's always good to have good lighting, Mike. God, how many times am I going to lean over that way? Yeah, Mike, it's always good to have good lighting when it comes to painting your miniatures. Usually, so obviously now, over here in the UK, it's getting dark. I'm working on this in not optimal light, but it's okay because I'm working on sort of bigger miniatures. But if I was to be painting something a little bit smaller, if I was painting a Space Marine, a Necromunda model, I would want good light. You know, I would want like a sort of overhead. You can get those, what's the hobby light called? There's a really useful hobby light you can get, and I can't remember the name of it. And I haven't got one yet, but it looks fantastic. So yes, good lighting is a bonus, Mike. Thomas, great jib with all the dioramas. Can't wait for the Golden Throne to finish. Oh, great job, great jib. Thank you very much, Thomas. Yeah, still going to be working on it. But for the time being, we are taking a little bit of a break, but it's given me some ideas as well. Got to keep saying but. Got to improve my vocabulary slightly, I think. Glenn, talking of sounding corny, what's your favourite type of corn-based food? A popcorn, corn on the cob, or sea cornbread? That's brilliant. Oh, I think popcorn, Glenn. I think popcorn would do it. I like toffee popcorn. I feel like that's kind of cheating somehow, though, having toffee popcorn, because it's all about the toffee, not really about the corn. But yeah, that would be it. Popcorn. Never had cornbread. Don't know what cornbread tastes like. Don't really have much cornbread here in the UK. King of the Dead, you can look at reference photos for similar things like athletes, muscles, pizzas, tanks. See, that's the thing. King of the Dead's got the answers here. Yeah. I have 150 millimeter FDM printer. Can't make something big. Could you not make something big in pieces, Big Brain, or is that really small? I'm not too familiar with the sizes of 3D printers. The first time I seen a 3D printer up close was my trip down to Hobby House, and Toby was showing me his printers on the go, and that was my first experience, really. Again, it shows you like how useless I am with kind of any form of tech. Just need to keep up to date a little bit better, I think. You can make some fantastic stuff with them, though. This bridge was printed off by Toby, and it is a great piece of scenery. Excuse me while I go quiet again to pick out these details. Cool. Mike, so one of those table clamp lights with a magnifying lens in the middle would work, if you know what I mean. You can use them, Mike. You can use them. I haven't used one of those. I tend to just eyeball it, but obviously depending on vision, how comfortable you are, they can work, yeah. So you could definitely go for one of them. Big Brain, I can't wait to see the gate open. I know, Big Brain. I got to do my research though, haven't I? It's going to be a thing of beauty, I think, Big Brain. And all it took was a couple of subs. None of which tuned in, I don't think, Big Brain. I think maybe one once possibly tuned in. Mike, no. Sorry, I read that one. Well, 15 cubed? 15 3, I don't know that. So you should know the dimension. I don't, Big Brain. I'm awful at dimensions. These streams are just a way for me to show you guys how useless I am at anything that isn't painting or building. That's what they're here for. Okay, let's get a bit more of this. I reckon I'm still going to be painting these tomorrow. I think for the first few hours in the morning, I'm probably still going to be painting these little metal bits. But it doesn't matter too much, I don't think. I'm also going to get these statues undercoated. I've got, what if I got 8 of them? So I need to assemble another 4, I think. And one of the plans actually that I haven't told you guys about is, just to mix it up a little bit, is we're going to have 4 of the full statues here, and I'm thinking of using a couple of the broken ones. And then what I'm going to do with the broken pieces is tie them in to the ground level, just to look like they've cracked and fallen off the bridge over the many years that have passed in the ash wastes. Just to give things a little bit more character. And I've also got to sit down and look through, I've got a couple of sprues that I want to use. Sprues that I want to use. I got a couple of different sprues that I want to kind of include in this build. Some of them have like little kind of makeshift barricades and stuff like that. And I'm thinking of dotting a few of them around. Maybe putting some on the bridge, I don't know yet. But yeah, they're going to be like another way for me to add little bits of detail, basically. Ah, 5.9 inches cubed. I see, Big Brain. You have enlightened me. King of the Dead, I intend to borrow the bridge layout for a board section. We'll start on building my own board for Heresy later this autumn. Later this autumn. Do you know why I said that? Because I was going to say awesome. King of the Dead, if you do start working on that project, please put some pictures on Discord, because I would very much like to see that. Toby sent me a few examples of people working on this bridge. He sent a really cool piece, actually, where a guy's kind of put like a dead space marine and a dead orc on it. And they're nice little details. I've also got to remember to get the sponge out too, and make sure I put some chipping on these. Although I might be able to do that after I've done my shade, to be fair, so maybe that's one of the things I do last. SI units are better than British Imperial units? Oh, use whatever, Big Brain. It's all the same to me. I'm not going to be dragged into that units of measurement debate where people are like, oh, the American version is better or the British one is better. I don't care either way. I don't care. Okay. I did start painting that inside one, but it's kind of an awkward angle, so I think for ease, I'm going to start painting this one down here. Just because I can't be bothered with that awkward angle at the moment. I will deal with that first thing in the morning. For those of you interested, I will also be streaming again tomorrow because I missed yesterday's stream as I didn't have all my cables I needed to start these streams up again. So I'm going to do like a bit of a double bill and go for another streaming session tomorrow. And then again on Sunday. Because I'm away camping again this weekend. So give me some time to think as well about what else I want to include. Shruik, sick new project. Love to see Munda getting some love. Thank you, Shruik. This is a project I am creating on behalf of Hobby House, which will be compatible with Necromunda, 40k, Horus Heresy. A couple of the regulars know that I am a very big fan of Necromunda. It's one of the other areas of sort of the 40k universe that I really enjoy, just because I find that it's more of a human element to things. So I thought we would kind of pursue that interest and create a gaming board that's based on Necromunda, which is going to be where the Hive wall meets the Ash Wastes, and this piece will represent one part of the Ash Wastes. Two sections of the board are going to represent the Ash Wastes, and the third will represent the Hive wall. So we got our work cut out for us. But I'm glad you're enjoying where it's going, Shruik. Glenn, question. You're going to be on a 10-hour car trip. What's the worst thing to have? A broken music player, B, an uncomfortable chair, C, no sat-nav, D, no aircon on a 45 degrees Celsius day. Okay. Do you know what, Glenn? It will never be the no aircon one because my car currently has no aircon. So my trip down to Hobby House a few weeks ago was a sweltering day here in the UK. Absolutely sweltering. I had no aircon the whole way down. And I managed to get through it. So I reckon I could survive without the aircon. I just put the windows down. Broken. I don't think I could do without the music, if I'm honest, Glenn. I like to have some music playing if I'm taking a long trip somewhere. Because the discomfort of the seat I could probably deal with, but I need something to listen to, you know. Gotta have something playing. King of the Dead, I would do chips first, as the dirt would go over the chips too. If you mix them up a bit, you can have fresh chips with dirt on them, and old chips. Oh, that's a good point, King of the Dead. That is a very good point. I'm going to be going over these with Nuln Oil, so I don't know whether, because of the kind of shade, the dark shade of Rhinox hide, I don't know whether the Nuln Oil will kind of obscure it a little bit too much. Whereas if I put it on top, because it's still quite dark, it will still look like old chips, if that makes sense. But I do get what you're saying. Big Brain, isn't Friday standard time? It is. It will be Friday 8 o'clock on our... Well, that's when we usually stream. I did say that there was supposed to be a bit of a schedule, but I had to just acquaint myself with this new technology that we have for the stream. So obviously we didn't do Wednesdays, but usually we are on a Wednesday. We're on a Sunday, a Wednesday and a Friday, and we always start about 8 o'clock. Although sometimes I'm late and Big Brain always lets me know about it. That's his job. That's Big Brain's job. Glenn, I know yesterday I was waiting for the stream for 4 hours. I hope not, Glenn. If you're not, Glenn, you should get yourself to the Discord, because I did drop a message for all the regulars in the Discord, and I've noticed you appearing a few more times recently, so if you want to be kept up to date, check out the Discord, Glenn. Shruik, I got into Necromunda thinking I'd save money over 40k, but then I started buying terrain. Love the massive boards to bits. Oh, Shruik, I feel your pain there. One thing I've said on a few of these streams now is the Necromunda design team just knock it out the park. They seem to be the team that most consistently comes up with the coolest terrain. Now, I do like some of the other terrain that Games Workshop puts out, but I feel like they don't put it out at the same consistency rate as the Necromunda team. And yeah, it's a slippery slope, you know. They have all the stuff you need to make like a underhive of your own. So I can understand how that happened, Shruik. But the idea, I think, was with Necromunda is that you buy your gang and you can just add little bits to your gang. But yeah, when they're dropping Zone Mortalis kits, they're dropping Ruined Zone Mortalis kits. They've got the new kit now, which is a little bit more... It's a little bit smaller, I think, than their previous releases. They've got the little pipes that are coming with the new edition of Necromunda. I still think they look really cool. And at some point soon, I would very much like to add them to something. Just because, as I said, they've got so much character, all the Necromunda models, or the Necromunda pieces of terrain. The miniatures do as well, you know. They knock it out of the park. So yes, Shruik, I can see what happened. Big Brain, isn't your schedule Wednesday, Friday and Sunday 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m? It is about that, Big Brain. And you should know, because you have never missed a stream, Big Brain. You are always here without fail, and I appreciate that, even when you're traveling. But yeah, that's kind of our usual streaming time. Depending on, you know, depending on how well I'm doing, how much I'm getting done, sometimes I'll stream for a little bit longer. But sometimes I have to be up early in the morning, which is a pain. And I need my beauty sleep. But you are right. Let's get a little bit more paint. And I think we'll probably be on for ending at about 10:30 this evening, just because I've got to get up early tomorrow. Pardon me. But our Friday night stream, we'll probably go on a little bit later than usual, I think. Okay, so let's load that up a little bit more. Glenn, check out my work in progress in the Discord. I will, Glenn. I always have a little look at the Discord after the stream and see what people are getting up to. I check it throughout the day sometimes as well, whenever I get a moment. But yes, I will have a look, Glenn. Okay. It's been a really fun project so far working on this. I've really sort of enjoyed every element of it. There's been a few moments where I've been like, oh, was that the right decision? Especially when it came to like shading some of the areas underneath the dry brush we done on our ground level. But it's all come together nicely. And it gives me a lot of hope for the future of this project and what we can achieve. Big Brain, I love camping. Well, Big Brain, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to Glastonbury, not the festival, but I'm going to Glastonbury to camp. It's this little campsite that we've been to before. Really enjoyed it. So we're going to go again. We liked it so much, we went again. It's nice. It's nice to be in outdoors. I like sometimes just to kind of be out somewhere where it's a bit peaceful. And also, ascending Glastonbury Tor is really nice. You get a fantastic view of Glastonbury Tor, from Glastonbury Tor even. And when the sun's out, it's just incredible. It is. Graham, hope your day goes well. Thank you, Graham. How are you doing? Nice of you to pop onto the stream. I hope you are doing well too. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, even though it's only Thursday today. Maybe I'll save that for tomorrow. But yeah, we'll be back. What I'm going to try and do is, I've got the whole day tomorrow, which is fantastic. So I'm going to just bash out a load of stuff with the project, get a few hours on it, just kind of tidy some stuff up, and then we will spend the stream, you know, getting some more done on it. What I want to do though is be able to work on something a little bit more interesting than this, in terms of details. Because I feel like this is more of a necessity, this bit, than anything else. What I can show you, actually, I was going to save this, but I will show you guys now we got the nice new camera out. What's this? Big brain. Norway has a rule allowing you to camp basically anywhere. That is a nice rule to have. I think we have something in the UK called the right to roam, but I don't think you can camp anywhere you want. So we don't have that much in terms of camping freedom. Right, look at this then, guys. So, I printed off these. I'm going to put these right up to the camera so you guys can see. Basically, these are posters that are featured in Dark Tide, I believe. Let's see, is that detail coming up? And I thought they looked really, really cool. There's a lot of sort of color variation. They're like propaganda posters. So we are going to cut them up. I usually give them a coat of varnish and then scrunch them up a bit to make them look weathered, and then stick them to certain areas of the board. So basically, what I want to do is be able to aim to add them tomorrow. So I want to spend a few hours getting all this done, and then sticking those little posters down. Oh, Glenn, question, what? What? That is a good question, Glenn. What? I don't know what. I feel like this one's going to be a good one, though, whenever you type it out. I like question time. This seems to be a regular new feature we've got going, courtesy of Glenn. Glenn gives us some quick questions, some interesting scenario-based questions, and I've got to come up with an answer. I dig it. Adds something a little interesting to the stream, I think. Big Brain, camping is limited to 3 days in the same spot. That makes sense, I think, Big Brain, to stop people taking the mick. Sounds much more reasonable in Norway. It does. We're a little less reasonable here in terms of camping. Right. Bum, bum, bum. I think I'm going to work on one more, and then I'm going to move on. I also want to paint. I know it's like less of an important thing, but I really want to paint the base of this section of the table. I really want to give it like a nice black border, kind of like you'd have on your regular miniatures. Okay, let's go for one. Let's go for this one on the inside. So, one thing I should say, if you are new here and you enjoy these live streams, you can consider becoming a member to support the channel if you so wish. It just enables me to do these sort of streams more often and for longer. And it's always nice to have you guys support. Obviously, it's not mandatory. The streams are open to everyone. And the Discord is open to everyone, but I always appreciate it. King of the Dead, I think Mini Wargaming did something similar with the borders of their boards. Looks quite clean. Yeah, that's what I want to aim for, I think, King of the Dead. Just to tidy up a little bit, you know, make it look a little bit more professional. Because I've got a tub of gesso paint, which I used to use to prime my canvases and prime my pieces of wood that I paint on. So I think a coat of that would look fantastic. Just to get rid of this kind of wood shade. It also gives it a bit more definition, I'd say. Shruik, related to camping and outdoors activities in the UK, I heard there's some event called the Duke of something. You know anything about that? I think we got the Duke of Edinburgh award, if that's what you are potentially referring to, but I think that's for younger people to get involved in camping and outdoor activities. So I think that's more aimed at younger people, to be fair. Can I explain what it is? I think what they do, because they offered it to us when we were in school, that's some time ago now. You could go away and camp, and you could, was it earn? Oh, I don't know if it's like earn medals or earn some kind of achievements or something. I'm not entirely sure. I think Google might be able to answer your question a little bit more clearly than me, Shruik, but I think you might potentially be referring to the Duke of Edinburgh award. But I can't guarantee it. It's just because it's the only thing I can think of, Duke, that has Duke in it and is somewhat related to camping. Right, makes sense. Heard it in the context of being somewhat similar to Scouts. Yeah, I think it is, Shruik. It's just for younger people, probably secondary school, I think I remember when they offered it to us. I never actually took part in it, so I can't tell you what it was like, but I do remember there being an opportunity to be involved in it if you wanted to. And in secondary school, I was not interested. I was... what was I doing? I used to go skateboarding. I wanted to spend all my time skateboarding, so I don't think I wanted to be away doing any Duke of Edinburgh awards. Okay, let's clean that brush. Okay. So I think, guys, what we're going to do is I'll probably paint this last little bit and then call it an evening for tonight's stream. It's been nice to be back up and running again, and it's nice of you who have tuned in to watch. It's nice to have had you guys along for this first new stream. I'm kind of hoping that, you know, gradually over time we just keep improving the quality of these streams. Obviously we have taken a big step in the right direction now, thanks to Steve and this camera. And it's good just because, look, I can show you guys much more clearly now. How good is that? Like, how great is that? And I'm not shouting at the laptop mic either. I can speak at a normal volume. Glenn, question, what was your trick? What was your best trick on skateboard? What was my best trick? My best trick that I could kind of do, I don't know how I realized I could do it, because basically I could never master a 360 flip, if you know what a 360 flip is, or a tray flip. I could never really master it. But for some reason, I managed to work out how to do it in a nollie stance. So I think nollie 360 flip was probably my best trick I could do. But it always disappointed me that I could never land a regular tray flip with any great consistency. You know, I got it a few times, but it was never a trick that I could just pop out the arsenal. Whereas a nollie 360 flip I could do, you know, 85% of the time. So that was my favorite trick. Shortly followed by heel flip. I liked heel flips a lot. I could do them with a great consistency too. Big brain falling on my face. Do you know what? I skateboarded for about 4 years, I think, 4 or 5 years. And, you know, never had, touch wood, never had any major injuries on it, which was crazy because all my friends ended up with some kind of major injury. One broke their ankle and rolled their ankle really bad and couldn't skate again. And what else was there? I think there was a broken bone or two, a broken arm possibly. But yeah, I never had any major injuries. Fell off a couple of times, but Nothing too debilitating, luckily enough. Gloom Creature, hello there. Long day at the work factory. Your build is looking really cool. Thank you, Gloom Creature. We got the new setup today, so we got 4K streaming capabilities, which means you guys can get a way better look at what I'm working on. But it also means you get a way better look at the studio, which at the moment is very, very messy. I had to tidy it up a fair bit earlier before setting these streams up properly. Glenn, 85% of the time you could do it every time. I could, Glenn. I could. 85% of the time I nailed it. Yeah, it was a funny one really, because I went from this hobby when I was younger just to skateboarding, and I guess it's because truth be told, when I was young it wasn't very cool to be doing Warhammer stuff. I always used to be kind of the outcast in secondary school, and yeah, kind of ended up dropping Warhammer and doing skateboarding instead. And now look, I'm back doing Warhammer again, because it's definitely cool now. Big Brain, time to clean the studio. It is time to clean the studio, Big Brain. I definitely need to tidy up this space a little bit more. Where I have been working on this project off screen as well, like behind the camera on my desk, is just a big mess because I've just got all the paints left out. I have a tendency to use paints and then not put them back on the shelf where they belong. So they're just kind of strewn across my desk at the moment. Alex, it's not messy, it's user-friendly. I agree with you as well, Alex. It's the way my brain kind of works. So when I'm focused on a certain area of this build, I kind of like to have the stuff close by. So with the paints, I'm just using those like specific colors. When I'm using the bits, like there's a pile of statues on my desk at the moment for where I've been making these little fellas. In fact, these little fellas, I'm going to undercoat them for you guys tomorrow, just so you can get a much better idea of what they're going to look like on top of the pillars. There'll be a nice bright gold to begin with, and then we'll dull that down and give that some verdigris. Big Brain, I got a skateboard for Christmas. I let it rot outside. Yeah, that happens to a lot of people, I think, Big Brain. Lots of skateboards get left outside. When I started skateboarding, I didn't even realize that you got to keep it inside, because otherwise it just becomes waterlogged and you can't skate on it. So yeah, learn a few things. Probably be useless on a skateboard now. I think I tried using one a few years ago just to kind of see if I could still remember any of the tricks, but yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I couldn't do anything. I think I could do an ollie just about, and maybe a big spin, I think I could do. But apart from that, I felt like really unsteady on the skateboard, which is a bit of a shame because I loved it so much, you know. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. But now I've got like a relatively safe hobby, which is painting miniatures. So at least, mostly I'd say I'm not at risk of falling off anything and damaging myself, but you never know. I work on some pretty big projects, so never say never. All right, what is it? It's only 10 past, but I think, guys, I'm going to call it an evening for tonight's stream, because got to be up early, unfortunately. And I think what I'm going to do is blast out these details tomorrow, because this probably is, so far has been my, the part of the build I've been the least enthusiastic about, just because it's, I don't know, it's just because I'm using a lot of paintbrush. But I'm going to bash out these tomorrow, so then we can kind of move forward from that and do something a little bit more interesting on stream. As I said, I want to do the posters, I think. That's going to be like the next thing. And the border. Posters, border, and probably some, wow, I don't know. maybe some other little bits and bobs. We will see what happens. Yeah, so thank you very much, guys, for tuning in to this stream. It's really cool. We are all set up now, and I know how to sort of progress. So yeah, we will be back streaming tomorrow from 8 o'clock. If you like what you see, consider subscribing, consider becoming a member. I've got all the links to different things that can assist the project in the description of the video. I really appreciate you guys joining me for this evening, and I hope you had a fairly interesting time. I know the stream got off to a really rocky start. Lots of trying to work out how to get the audio working correctly, but I think we're there now. All right, let's just read these last few messages. King of the Dead was fun to catch the stream. Looking forward to the rest of this when it's done. Have a great evening. Thank you very much for dropping by, King of the Dead. It's been awesome to have you on the stream. Shruik, thank you very much as well. Cheers. See you later. All right, guys. It has been a fantastic stream. Thank you for joining me. Gloom Creature, take care. Good night. Good night to you, Gloom Creature. Yeah, so I will be back on tomorrow from 8 o'clock if you fancy more of this. And I'll see you guys soon. All right? Thank you very much. See you in the next stream, everyone.